Okay, see my dear students, centrally acting muscle relaxants. Okay, so what are the indications of the centrally acting muscle relaxants? Treatment of painful musculoskeletal conditions. Okay, treatment of painful musculoskeletal conditions such as muscle spasm associated with the overexertion, spasticity associated with the multiple sclerosis and cerebral palsy. Okay, and when you come to third year, you'll understand what is multiple sclerosis. It's an autoimmune disease. Okay, spasticity associated with the multiple sclerosis and cerebral palsy, and it works best alongside of the physical therapy. Okay, so these are the indications of the centrally acting muscle relaxants. Okay, my dear students. Okay, muscle spasm associated with the overexertion, spasticity associated with the multiple sclerosis as well cerebral palsy, and it works best for along the side of physical therapy. Okay, for this condition we use the drug of choice is the centrally acting muscle relaxant. Okay, now we'll see the drugs which comes under the centrally acting muscle relaxant, that is nothing but diazepam. One more drug is the tizanidine. Okay, not tizanidine. Tizanidine, T-I-Z-I, okay, N-A-D-I-N-A, tizanidine, T-I-Z-A-N-I-D-I-N-A, okay, that is a tizanidine, diazepam, baclofen. Okay, we'll go one by one. First, let us have a normal physiology. Okay, so students, you please try to understand here. This is the upper motor neuron. Okay, as it is a close view of this. Okay, so as we are discussing with the centrally acting, okay, that means it is working with the brain as well spinal cord. So clear, we have a upper motor neuron. This is the lower motor neuron. UMN is implies that upper motor neuron. This is the lower motor neuron, and along with this upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron, one more neuron is present here for us, that is the inhibitory interneuron. Okay, so most of you people, I think you have the awareness because already dealt in the physiology. Anyway, you try to brush up your mind. Okay, so as we know that action potential which propagates, okay, here we have a voluntary muscle contraction. Okay, how this voluntary muscle contraction, this action potential which propagate towards to the upper motor neuron, and we know that here we have a neurotransmitters, that is the excitatory neurotransmitters. Okay, in the vesicle we have a neurotransmitters in the upper motor neuron, that is nothing but excitatory neurotransmitter, that is the glutamate and norepinephrine. Okay, so when this action potential propagate towards to the upper motor neuron, the excitatory neurotransmitter, that is nothing but glutamate and norepinephrine, which is been releasing towards, okay, which is been releasing from the upper motor neuron, and we have a in the lower motor neuron. This is the complete part of the lower motor neuron. The lower motor neuron which consists of the receptors. Okay, this black indication, see my dear students, this is the receptors, okay, to receive the neurotransmitters. Okay, so when these receptors are present in the lower motor neuron, so the upper motor neuron is releasing the excitatory neurotransmitter, that is the glutamate and norepinephrine. This glutamate and norepinephrine comes and binds with the receptors which present in the lower motor neuron. So when this binds with this excitatory neuron, glutamate and norepinephrine comes and bind with the lower motor neurons of the receptors, thus that would be passing towards to the lower motor neuron and activates the muscle contraction. Okay, that's why I given the see my dear students, I give you the indications also. First is voluntary muscle contraction and action potential propagates, and when this action potential propagates to the upper motor neuron, we have a excitatory neurotransmitter, that is the third indication, that is the glutamate and norepinephrine, and ultimately it binds with the receptors, that is nothing but the lower motor neuron which consists of the receptors which comes binds with the glutamate and norepinephrine binds with the receptor, and thus propagating to the lower motor neuron and activates the skeletal muscle contraction. So this is complete excitement, but over excitement also leads to over contraction. Okay, for regulate this overexcitement, we have a inhibitory interneuron. Okay, inhibitory interneuron is the regulate the excitation, because we here complete process is the excitement, no? So we need to regulate the excitement process by inhibitory interneuron. That is, inhibitory neuron is the GABA neuron. Okay, so once this inhibitory interneuron which releasing the GABA neuron towards to the what, lower motor neuron. Okay, here GABA neurons are releasing towards to the lower motor neuron. So when this GABA neuron is the inhibitory neuron. Okay, these two are the excitatory neuron. Already the excitatory neuron have been propagated and causing the muscle activity. Okay, activates the muscle contraction, but over muscle contraction also is a problem. For that, regulation taken by the inhibitory interneuron. The inhibitory neuron is the GABA. Okay, GABA is the inhibitory neurotransmitter. The GABA is producing from the inhibitory interneuron, which producing passes towards to the lower motor neuron. Okay, and thus releasing the chloride. Okay, chloride permeability is increasing. Okay, so chloride permeability is increasing. Furtherly, they are regulating the over excitement. Okay, so we can maintain the normal mechanism by providing the GABA from the inhibitory interneuron, and thus providing the chloride permeability is increasing. Thus it is regulating the what, regulate